Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Subcommittee on Public Works from the Revere City Council. I want to welcome everybody, those that are present from my right, Councilor Giannino, Councilor Quinasso, Councilor Keefe, Councilor, what's your name again? Oh, McKenna. Councilor Morabito, Councilor Patch, and Councilor Zambuto. Councilor Powers. So what we have today, we have 4 petitions from National Grid to install pole and wire locations along Revere Street. I'll give the floor now to Councilor Quinasso and have him pick up the ball.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been told to me that National Grid has performed some of the work that was necessary for the storefront located on Revere Street. It hasn't been completed yet, but we're looking forward to that being completed no later than this week. Now, the individual who owns that property, Val Beatrice, he owns Fiore's Market, they've been experiencing this pain for several weeks. Half of the refrigeration at the site is not in workable fashion. How do you run a business with the competition that's out there today with half of a business functioning? It's not fair. And the sole reason solely is because of the lack of power going to the business location. Now, we've been given wording to you, through you, Mr. Chairman, from Dan Cameron, that this work will be completed by the end of this week. Now, I know that these 4 projects are necessary for certain parts and certain parcels in the community. And all of these instruments, by the way, are physically going to be placed in Ward 3, none of which benefit any of the residents of Ward 3. So we're going to see these locations, these pole locations, and not service any of our residents of particularly Ward 3. So we want to be good neighbors to our good friends from Ward 5 and some Ward 2 and allow these poles to go forward. But in the event, Mr. Chairman, that National Grid does not perform its work as pledged that they would do so, then I ask and suggest that we stop all proceedings before any of this gets placed, because we know it takes a while to get these things going. So I ask that that be contingent upon the work performance being completed by no later than this Saturday, and we go forward from there. If that's the case, Mr. Chairman, then I would recommend to this body that we approve these 4 sites. Other than that, I wish that the council would not go forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. I did have a discussion with Dan Cameron this afternoon about it, and he said they do hopefully have it completed by Friday or Saturday, but they have to make a connection into the building, and since the store is closed on Monday, next Monday, that they would prefer doing the tie-in on Monday. So I told him I'd be in touch with him, and he would be in touch with me, because I told him there was no way that we will approve these 4 petition locations until Fiore's Market is up and running to its proper wattage, and the power is in there 100%. He's been going through this for several years now, I believe, since the transformer blew, and it's shame on National Grid for not following up and fixing those in a more timely manner. So I think someone wants to speak, and I'll let you have if you push the button, name and address, please, and push the button.
Chairman, I reside at 109 Leverett Ave, on the corner of Leverett Ave and the Winthrop Parkway, Ward 1. I have been calling for 2 years to have a light installed. They speed up and down in front of my house. It's pitch black. Now, this is right where they installed the steel gate. I'm right outside there. It is so black, you can't even see a person 20 feet from you. They race up and down. I don't care about the speed, which I do care about the speed, but it's jet black outside my house. I've been complaining for 2 years. I contacted Joanne McKenna 6 months ago. I have called National Grid. I've contacted DCR. They also have the address. But I'm petrified outside my house. They installed a light to a park that's to the left side of my house facing out, or if you're facing my house, it's to the right side. It's a floodlight that floods this park with like 10,000 watts of light. You would swear it's a baseball park. Now, they say it's because there's been drug dealing there. I've lived there 40 years. I look and I see the park. The park is desolate. There's barely 1 or 2 kids there a week. And if it's those kids that are outside this park, they cross the street to where my house is, which is merely 100 feet distance. But I told it was for safety, for drug dealing. They got cameras there. But to no avail, no matter how many times I call, National Grid, DCR, I've talked to the mayor. He said I was going to get results. I still haven't seen anyone yet. I know he was just told this probably only about a week or 2 ago when I talked to him. But I would really, really love to see a light there. But as far as I'm concerned about crime being in that park, I've lived there 40 years. I see it from my living room window. There's no one there. But they got cameras there. Just recently, 3 weeks ago, I was surprised, a 10,000 watt light that the whole park is lit. And it's black outside my
Okay,
house.
we get the understanding. You know, this is the first I've ever heard of this, but it's not my wards. But what I want to do is hear from Councilor McKenna. But let me say this too, this isn't on our agenda to talk about. We're talking about National Grid work
Okay.
on Revere Street.
I heard National Grid.
Okay,
and
on
that-
Revere Street, okay?
okay.
So that's the main issue.
okay.
But, you know, because it's one issue, and I want to hopefully bring up only one more issue, and this is it, with Councilor McKenna, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I've been working with, I forgot your first name, and I've been
Daniel
with,
Francione.
so he called me in May. I called DeLeo's office, and Joe Masillo and I were working on this, but it wasn't fast enough for him. So he kept calling me and saying, I'm not doing my job, I'm not doing it, I'm not working on it. And I've been working on it with Joe Masillo and Speaker DeLeo on this, but it wasn't fast enough for him. And it's a light pole that needs to be replaced. The whole light was taken down. We've called, Joe Masillo called National Grid, and it's DCR property, so they were working together with them. They were getting some results because there was wires that were exposed, so we had the wires repaired, but it wasn't fast enough for him, so he called the mayor. And I just wanted him to be a little more patient because nothing is done in a minute, and I told him that, but he just didn't listen to me, and that's the result of it. He didn't want me to do anything else for him. So he went to the mayor, and now it's in the mayor's hands.
Okay, I don't want to get into a cross, okay? But let me say, National Grid is very difficult to deal with, as you've heard. Also, DCR is difficult to deal with, and when you get two difficult bodies, it's tough to get things done quickly. I've been waiting for things from DCR for 6, 7, 8 months. And I know things are dark. I know you feel very challenged, as they may say, but, you know, it's a waiting game, unfortunately. We can't make DCR do the work, and we can't make National Grid stop everything to do one pole. So we just have to be patient.
Council, I just want to take one more thing to attention. I have been patient. 6 months is a very long time. I've been calling for 2 years.
Well, let me say this, okay? I honestly, not trying to be political, but it's not Council McKenna's fault. She's doing the best she can by contacting all these different agencies herself, including the Speaker's office. And if they don't move for the Speaker of the House, they're not going to move for the President of the United States. So I still, I believe it is a long time. I've waited a long time. I've waited 3 years for lights to be fixed. So, I'm doing it I'm saying from experience. Again, we understand that, sir. We understand that, but our hands are tied. That's a state police issue. Yeah. You're talking about issues that are not city-related, sir. Well, you have to call the Speaker's office. You have to go higher than the mayor. And I would say that. Go to the Speaker's office. That's what I have to do. So, with that, you still want to say something? No. Don't get into it. Thank you. Okay, with that, we're going to leave these 4 items on the table, and I'm going to call for a meeting for next week, and pending any successful work that's being done, that has been done at Fury's Market, and we'll have the meeting, and if they still don't complete it, then we will leave it on the table for another 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, you're welcome. So with that, I will adjourn this meeting, and thank you for your attention.